Hello and welcome to today's episode. Yes, France, a country known for its beauty, its great food, and geographic supremacy. What else could it want? It has the English Channel in the north protecting it from the British, the Pyrenees and the Atlantic against the Spanish, and the Alps in the east against Switzerland, Italy, and all those other countries. But wait, is that just a dry old plain? Nothing can happen, right? It's not like an expansionist country is going to take advantage of this and take over the entire country in a few weeks twice. Yeah, that happened. So that's what we are discussing in today's episode. Why France's biggest weakness is Germany. France can be considered to have one of the best geographic defenses in Europe, apart from the British, of course. But that will be in another video. So as stated before, France is almost completely surrounded by natural obstacles for incoming territory-hungry armies, and has stayed this way for millions of years, from keeping out the Romans to Mussolini's boys. But a lot of France is extremely open to invasion, this part. And by open, I mean really open. But then, how is France so rich with such a huge geographic flaw? You see, having this huge fertile plain is kind of a mixed card. If it's at the border, the defense will be about 50% worse. But the big buff comes in agriculture. You see, plants really do love moist soil. And this love they have for this soil is what makes France so rich. Paris, for example, was built on the river Seine. This can be seen in other cities all around the world, such as Sydney, which is built on the Parramatta River, Cairo, which is built on the Nile River, and New York, which was built on the Hudson River. These cities are all wildly successful because they are built on nice, fertile plains supplied by a nice river. So while these plains can be quite tempting to enemies, to say the least, they are not inherently bad. However, how were these plains created in the first place? The French plains are part of a broader geographic region known as the Paris Basin, which covers most of northern France. The Paris Basin was formed over millions of years through a combination of tectonic activity, sedimentation, and erosion. Around 65 million years ago, during the Cretaceous period, this region was covered by a shallow sea known as the Paris Sea. I know, it sounds cursed. Over time, the sedimentary deposits left behind by the sea formed the foundations for the fertile soils that are found in the French plains today. The Paris Basin continues to evolve over the following millions of years with volcanic activity, erosion, and glacification. This is basically where everything becomes frozen, all playing a role in shaping the landscape. The most recent ice age, which ended about 12,000 years ago, had a particularly significant impact on that region, reshaping the terrain and creating a network of rivers that now cross the French plains. In addition to this geological history, the French plains have also been shaped by human activity. So basically, nature is not doing all the work here. The region has been inhabited since prehistoric time, with early settlers cultivating the land for crops and grazing livestock. But why is such a plain so vulnerable to an enemy attack? Plains are generally considered to be easier to attack on for several reasons. Number one, limited cover. Plains are generally open and can lack a lot of significant natural features, such as trees, hills, or mountains that can provide cover for troops. This means that soldiers and equipment are more exposed and vulnerable to enemy fire and can be easily spotted from a distance. So for example, if the Germans found the French encamping on an area, the Germans could easily just set up some artillery and wait for the French to come in view. This will make battle for the French much harder, and it will give Germany a significant advantage. There's also limited concealment, which is related to the previous point. The lack of natural features on plains means that it is harder to conceal troops, equipment, and movements. This makes it easier for the enemy to monitor and track the movements of an attacking force. So if the French really did decide to attack the Germans, it would be quite hard for themselves to actually do a sneak attack because, everyone can see them. So that would definitely also give them a disadvantage. Furthermore, limited obstacles. Plains tend to have few natural obstacles such as rivers, cliffs, or ravines, which can impede or slow down an attacking force. This means that the defenders have fewer opportunities to take advantage of natural barriers to halt or delay the advance of enemy troops. So if the Germans try to launch an attack with tanks, it will be much easier to maneuver them and race at lightning speed to the troops, then sending them over ravines and hills in which many tanks will either fall short or take ages to reach the battlefield. Lastly, there are very few natural defenses. Unlike mountain ranges or forests, plains have few natural defenses that can be used to protect the French from enemy fire. This means that soldiers must rely more heavily on fortifications and other man-made defenses, which can be less effective against the determined Germans. So, if the Germans were really rushing at lightning speed to the French cannot really do anything to protect themselves, apart from setting up little fences. This again gives a huge advantage to Germany, which helped them win during the two world wars. But many other countries can take advantage of the situation, not just Germany. Well, since we already have mountains and oceans defending France from most of the bigger hitters, such as Britain, Spain, Italy, and some obscure country in the past, Germany is still left. And no, Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands were never a big threat for France and never will. I mean, look at this. Also, the border between Germany and France is somewhat long and hard to defend, which is never a good thing for the weaker country historically. Number 1, border disputes. France and Germany had major strategic and industrial positions, which led to disputes and conflicts. This included disagreements over territory, natural resources, and, in extreme cases, these disputes escalated into armed conflict, as seen in the Franco-Prussian War. Security threats. Long borders can also make it harder to monitor and control who is entering and leaving the country. This can create security risks and tension, as spies could potentially enter the country undetected. A long border also makes it harder to defend, which Germany's tactics exploited during the World Wars. France is probably still salty about that. So, in conclusion, France should probably not be worried about Germany anymore because they're friends now. But geographically, they are meant to be enemies. And this can be seen in all of history, all the big wars, but France doesn't want me to mention them, so yeah. I'll see you in the next episode. Wait, don't go. Before you leave this video, why not you subscribe and also click this video right here. I'll see you in the next episode.